Hello, welcome to King's Court, and my name is Kings. All right, on today's episode, we have a very interesting topic to talk about, and like you all know, I'm sure you're gonna be blessed. Okay, so I'm so happy with what God is doing with King's Court podcast, and it's an avenue and a platform where mind-provoking discussions and conversations can occur. In the premise of young ministers and campus fellowship leaders. Okay, so we talk about matters relatable to the campus fellowship leaders, to the campus fellowship communities, and as well as young ministers. Okay, and by God's grace, we're going to be having um, guests who would come to speak on diverse matters. They're going to share wisdom, knowledge, and great insight with the wealth of knowledge they've been able to trap with time, with labor, of sacrifice, and by pressing into God. And also experiential knowledge which they also experienced probably while they were on campus as campus fellowship leaders, or while they were in the campus fellowship community, and as well as their journey thus far as young ministers as well. Okay, so today's topic, we're going to be talking about something very, very interesting, something so relatable. All right. So we discovered that a lot of young ministers and campus fellowship leaders, have this syndrome for validation. They just want to be validated. So you see, where a young minister, a campus fellowship leader will always want to identify, with something good God is doing out there, or always want to identify with an A-list minister, also always want to identify with, in quote, someone who is actually doing well, so that they will now think that, okay, by association, he or she is actually also doing well. Okay, just a sense of validation. They are so into what people think about them, what people will say about them. They are so concerned on how people see them. They hardly could face persecution. Even Jesus Christ, while he was on earth here, they said so many things about him. Some said he's this, he's that, but he kept on with the cause. Why am I saying this? Your validation shouldn't come from external factors, but your validation should come from the inner witness, which is the conviction you have about your call and your dealings with God. So your validation should come from within, an inner witness that bears witness with your spirit and the Spirit of God. So that conviction in your spirit that bears witness with the Spirit of God is the highest validation you need. Your validation does not come from external factor, does not come from people who will raise accolades and give you accolades. No. So the fact that we see young ministers and campus fellowship leaders seeking for validation, okay, most of the times by association, and most of the times by trying to portray a character or portray a self that people will look at and commend. So I heard something very, 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 profound. It says, if you would be so concerned to receive what people will say about you, both negative or positive, then that means when praises come, you also receive it. And God does not share his glory with anyone. So change the heart posture of receiving validation from external forces, but ensure that your validation comes from God, which bears witness in your spirit, man.